Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-O-I-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk books, nothing special going on here, no theme music, very, very low tech. I have a Christmas wish. It's not going very well. I'm relying on you, the general public, to help me. Those of you who've already subscribed, thank you very much. I need 900 more to make my goal of 1,000 by Christmas. It would be a Christmas miracle, as I've been doing this a year now, and I have a little over 140 subscribers at this time. So if any of you have popular channels or know people or do TikTok, spread the word, please. Please spread the word. All right, so like I have said before, I'm doing my comfort books in December because it's a really hard time for me. I've had some family deaths. I've talked about that before. And I go to my comfort books. And my comfort books are Janet Ivanovich and J.D. Robb. So we did a couple of J.D.s. Now we're going to get back up with Janet. 30 Days of Janet. And we're going to end with 30/30, which is under my tree and will be unwrapped for Christmas. So up until that point, and maybe a few days later, depending how this goes, we're reading Janet books. And as I've told you, I'm an audiobook fiend. I listen to it. LICKIN is brilliant. She will always be Stephanie to me. And Susan Erickson will always be Eve Dallas to me. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. That's how we go. And I'm going to make that clock part of my video next year. She keeps going off every time I do a video. Bing, 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 bing. Seriously, regardless of what time of day I do these videos, she goes off. So we are talking lean, mean. No, that was 14. Fearless. No, finger licking 15. Sorry. And Lula has had a day. I saw it all, she said. It's terrible. It was horrible. I couldn't believe it was happening, and right in front of me. She looked around. What do we got? Do we got donuts? Because I need a donut. I need a whole bag. And maybe I need one of them breakfast sandwiches with the egg and cheese and bacon and grease. I got a grease craving. I knew it would be a huge mistake to ask Lula what she'd seen, but I couldn't stop myself. What was terrible and horrible? Apparently, she witnessed a beheading on the way to work. For the details, check it out. Like I have said previously, I can't do these books without sharing. I have to share them with you because I enjoy them so much. I want to share. I want you to read the books with me. I want you to enjoy the books with me. So, they go to the crime scene. They get Morelli. She gets sick. She goes home. And when she comes out of the shower, Ranger's sitting there. I gave a startled jump and jumped back into the bathroom. Babe, Ranger said. I stuck my head out and looked at him. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. You could have called, or how about ringing my doorbell? Ranger looked like he was thinking about smiling. His attention focused on the top of my towel and slowly moved to the bottom hem that hung a half-inch below my doodah. His brown eyes dilated black, and I took a stronger grip on my towel. You gotta love it. So he needs her help. Someone is breaking into his houses that he provides security before, and he needs help. He has her come be in the company. Are you here again? Wait a second. Goodbye. You left. Where was I? Oh, so he's telling her about coming back to the office, taking her old seat, doing some stuff she was doing for him before researching. You worked for me before doing computer searches, and that's where I'd like to put you again. Raymond has been doing the searches, but he'd like to get out of the cubby and back on the street. You'd be working on the 5th floor in the control room, but you'd have total access within the building. Every man in my organization knows you and understands that you're my personal property, so they're not going to talk freely when you're around, but they're also not going to think I hired you to snoop. They'll assume I gave you the job to have you close to me. Personal property? Babe, you're the only one who would question it. I narrowed my eyes. I'm not personal property. A car is personal property. A shirt is personal property. A human being is not personal property. Yes, ma'am. My co-host is back, but you can't see her. She's standing right here. That's how horrible my camera is. Come here. There she is. There she is. If the camera shakes, that's her. She's rubbing her body all over my camera. She goes to the office. Lula comes in and says that while she was filing her report, someone found the head of Stanley Chipotle, the chef from the Food Channel. He was in town to host the National Barbecue Contest. Stephanie goes to Ranger. She replaces a grateful Raymond who was placed at the desk as punishment because he had gotten a speeding ticket. Stephanie tells him she's just doing it for extra money. She has dinner with Ranger and he tells her about the 3 break-ins. He has 3 new employees, Chester Rodriguez, Victor, and Martin Beam. No patterns to the break-ins, they all happen at night. Then she tells him about her 5 open FTAs. He agrees to help her. Ranger goes with Stephanie to Stark Street. Ranger sees the runner. And I have mentioned this previously. Whenever there's an incident of damage, of anything that goes wrong with her FTA, where there was a food fight, one book, or in this particular instance, there's a paintball fight. They don't know what they're getting into, but they're going after an FTA, and they go in, and the guy says, "Are you here just to breeze through, or are you here to play?" And they're like, "Oh, just breeze through." And so they go in, and they go into a middle of a playing paintball going through the apartments. And Stephanie comes out covered in paint, and Ranger comes out perfectly clean. That's the way it is. Are you having fun over there? I've got a paper fetish. What can I do? I felt the bullet hit my shoulder, knock me back an inch or two, and something splattered across my chest. What the? I said. Run, pussy. What? Run. And pow, I got shot again. Pow, pow. An arm wrapped around my waist. I was lifted off my feet and whisked out of the room, back into the hall. Ranger kicked the door closed and set me down. What? Why? Paintball. Are you okay? No. It hurt. It's like getting hit with a rock. Why on earth do people do that? You have to be crazy. It's a game, Ranger said. Usually this version is more like shooting sitting ducks. I checked myself out. I was completely spattered with blue, pink, and yellow paint. It was in my hair and on my shoes and everywhere in between. There was no paint on Ranger. You don't have a drop of paint on you. Why is that? Ranger smiled, liking that he hadn't got hit. I guess they were hunting pussy. But I walked into the MF room. Yeah, babe, but you're clearly pussy. So they capture marbles. There's always sexual tension going on between her and Ranger. He says to her, "You have a choice," Ranger said to me. "We can take him to the station and get him booked, or I can have one of my men do it, and I can take you home so we can get you out of those clothes." "We can get me out of my clothes? Are you planning on making it a group activity?" "Figure of speech, babe. I don't need help getting you undressed." He answered his cell phone, listened for a moment, and disconnected. Change of plans. um, so Ranger gets notice of another break-in. He brings Stephanie with him. Same MO as previous MOs. He makes a list of clients, list of stolen items. They also disable the alarm for 15 minutes exactly. They know what they're looking for. It's like they have surveyed the property before, and exit and exit through the garage. She goes to the bond office. She tells them that she's apprehended Kenny, and they talk about the paintball on Steph. They tell her there is a $1 million reward for the person who captures the murder of Stanley Chipotle. Lula decides she's going to enter the barbecue contest so she can capture the killer. Stephanie goes to Raymond, talks to Raymond during lunch and about the break-ins. She goes to the office. I dropped into the office a little after 5. Connie was shuffling papers, and Lula was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Lula? I thought we were going to eat barbecue tonight." Turns out Lula only has a hot plate in her apartment, and she couldn't get the ribs to fit on it, so she had to find someplace else to cook. "She could have used my kitchen." "Yeah, she considered that, but we didn't have a key, and we thought you might not have a lot of equipment. I have a pot and a fry pan. Is she at your house?" "Are you insane? No way would I let her into my kitchen. I wouldn't even let her work the office coffee maker." "So where is she?" "Your parents' house." So she goes to her parents' house. Grandma Missouri is helping Lula with the barbecue. They're doing the ribs. And my mother reached out and grabbed me by the t-shirt. And this is a constant thing. It's in every single book, and we enjoy it in every single book. My mother reached out and grabbed me by the t-shirt. "I was in labor 26 hours with you," she said. "You owe me. The least you could do is see this through to the end." I missed it. I missed the rant. Alright, so after everything is said and done, Lula goes back to her apartment, and the two people that did Stanley Chipotle come to her apartment and shoot through her door, so she's got to go stay over at Stephanie's, and Stephanie can't stand her snoring, so Stephanie goes to Ranger's. "I expected you'd stay in my apartment," Ranger said. "I was worried about the later thing." "And you think moving from my apartment to my office will save you?" "I'm doing good so far." Ranger slouched into a chair on the opposite side of the desk. "Is this move into my office permanent? Is that a possibility?" "No." I looked around. "It's a really nice office. It has a window." The corners of Ranger's mouth curved into the beginning of a smile. "Would you like to negotiate for this office?" "No, but I'd like to stay here until I finish reading. I have no privacy in my cubicle." "You are just hamming it up today." "Oh, shall we do a kitty cam?" I know I'm horrible at this. I know there's lots of sound here. There she is. There's my baby. There she is. Sorry. So I did that already. She's also read about the men who were involved in security job, and one of them was married to Ranger's cousin. She goes to her parents' house again. Lula is barbecuing. It's a disaster 6 ways to Sunday. Morelli comes by because they had accidentally set fire to the tree. So she goes out with Morelli for pizza, and they talk about their fight. Apparently, this is an off book. This is a book that Stephanie is out of bounds with Morelli. Apparently, they had a fight. He goes, do you want to go home and go to bed? Geez, I said, is that all you ever think about? No, but I think about it a lot, especially when I'm with you. I thought we were supposed to be mad at each other. Morelli shrugged. I don't feel mad anymore. I can't even remember what we were fighting about. Peanut butter. Ding, 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 ding. 11 dings. She hasn't done that in a really long time. That's a long time she hasn't done that. I thought we were supposed to be mad at each other. Morelli shrugged. I don't feel mad anymore. I can't even remember what we were fighting about. Peanut butter. It was about more than peanut butter. So you do remember. You called me an insensitive clod, Morelli said, and I'm not a clod. But you admit to being insensitive. I'm a guy. I'm supposed to be insensitive. It's my birthright. I was pretty sure he was kidding, but then maybe not. Okay, I said. I'll take half of it back. You're not a clod. The waitress brought our food. Morelli took out his credit card. We'll take the check now, and we'll like a to-go box. Since when? I said. I thought we decided to go home. I can't go home. I have to go back to work. Doing what? Doing what I do. I'm working at Rangeman. At night? It's complicated, I said. I bet. I felt my eyebrows squinch together. What's that supposed to mean? It means I don't trust him. He's a total loose cannon, and he looks like you like your lunch. It's a job. I need money. You could move in with me. You wouldn't have to pay rent. Living with you doesn't work. The last time we tried to cohabitate, you threw my peanut butter away. It was disgusting. It had grape jelly, potato chips in it, and something green. Olives. It was just a little cross-contamination. Sometimes I get hungry and stuff gets mixed in the peanut butter. Anyway, when did you get so fussy? I'm not fussy, Morelli said. I just try to avoid food poisoning. I've never poisoned you with my food, only because you don't cook. Are you having fun with the paper over there? Here, have another piece. Stephanie goes to the funeral parlor. Apparently the rest of Stanley Chipotle has been delivered. Oh, yeah, she goes to get an FTA. He's been flashing people. She stuns him in the bathroom. They go to carry him out. One thing leads to another. He gets away. Oh, here it is. The mother's annual rant that I was looking for before. Myra Baronsky's daughter has a good job in the bank, my mother said. Margaret Beadle's daughter is an accountant. She works in an office like a normal human being. Why do I have a daughter who drags aroused men through funeral parlors? I had 14 phone calls before your grandmother even got home. The Berg has a news pipeline that makes CNN look like chump change. I think he must have happened when he got rug burned, I told my mother. He didn't have an erection when I cuffed him in the ladies' room. I'm going to move to Arizona. I read about this place, Lake Havasu. No one would know me there. I disconnected. So there's another break-in. Someone stole Fabergé eggs. Someone opens fire on Lula. And they're at the bonds office. And they tried to shoot Lula up. And her and Morelli have words. He's been hanging out with Joyce Barnhart, and Stephanie is not pleased with that. Joe has this thing for Ranger, like Stephanie has this thing. There are two people. There's Joyce Barnhart, the lady that she found on the dining room table with her husband, and that proceeded to get divorced, and the fact that Joyce Barnhart also sometimes is familiar with Morelli and also with Vinny. And the other person that really gets Stephanie going and will push her into Ranger's bed really quickly is Terry Gilman. So those are people that Stephanie has a really, very, very jealous streak in her. And those women will push her into Ranger's bed faster than anything. But there is no bedroom activity in this book. So somebody opens it, Lila. She goes to Rangeman. Grandma calls her FTA is in the backyard. So they go get him. Ranger helps her with that. It's the junior turkeys in the backyard. They get him. So she wants to go home, but Lula is snoring. She goes back to Rangeman, and then she goes to the bonds office, and we hear about a person that we haven't heard much about lately. She calls Morelli, and Joyce Barnhart answers his telephone, and it just gets Stephanie going that Joyce Barnhart is in his house. So they it didn't happen yet. But so she's at the bonds office, and Vinny has rehired Joyce Barnhart, and Stephanie and Lula hate when Vinny does that. She never actually catches anybody, but it just irks Stephanie and Lula. And Connie says, Lucille, Vinny's wife, she tortured Vinny by constantly redecorating their house by spending his money faster than he could make it. We figured this was retribution for Vinny boinking anything that moved. The good part of the deal was that all Vinny could do was pedal twice as fast, since Lucille's father, Harry the Hammer, financed the bonds office. If Vinny left Lucille, not only would he be unemployed, there was a good chance he'd be dining with Stanley's he'd be dead. So there's a drive-by shooting, and Grandma and Lula are found in Stephanie's apartment the next day. They're trying to cook the ribs for the pressure cooker. It explodes. So they go to collect in the bucket, and Larry, her cross-dresser fireman, is there. So she does make some arrangements, and Larry's going to come to the house. He's going to wear Lula's clothes, and he's going to clean. So, let's see. She's back at Ranger's place. I came awake with a start, not knowing where I was for a moment, and then remembering Ranger's bed. I looked at the clock, 6:20. The light was on in the bathroom. Ranger emerged, still dressed in Rangeman tactical gear. He came to his side of the bed and kicked off his shoes. Either get out of bed or else take your clothes off, he said. I'm not in the mood to compromise. You've been working for 18 hours. You're supposed to be tired. I'm not that tired. He removed his watch and set it on the bedside. I saw Rex in the kitchen. Is this going to be an extended stay? Would that be a problem? We'd have to negotiate terms. rent, sex, and closet space. I heaved myself out of bed. If you sleep on my side, it's already warm. And then stuff goes on. She gets out of bed. So they go after Ernie, one of her FTAs, and set Stephanie's car on fire. That's it hasn't happened for a couple of books. We would do for a fire. They go to her apartment for lunch, and Larry is cleaning in his Gone with the Wind dress, and Morelli gets a little upset. It's time for Morelli to get a little on the other side. I don't want to argue about arrangement, I told him. I don't care about arrangement, Morelli said, his voice crackling with laughter. I want to know about the guy in the dress. What the heck is that about? Lula exploded the barbecue sauce in my kitchen and didn't want to clean it up, so she told his cross-dresser he could wear her dress if he scrubbed the sauce off the walls and ceiling. And he spent the night Lula's guest. You gotta love it. So they're back at her mother's house and they're making new sauce, and apparently the new sauce gives you serious case of the runs. And so she takes it to the office with the intention of giving it to Vinny for revenge, and instead Joyce Barnhart shows up and steals it, and then she and Morelli and etc. eat it, and they get the runs. And I couldn't. So Grandma and her mother bring home a grocery bagger for Stephanie to have a dinner with. And but the other that was the first, and they do it again. She goes to Morelli's after dinner, and Joyce Barnhart is there. Then she goes to Ranger. Ranger wakes her up at midnight. 2 more houses were hit. In the morning, they go to collect in the bucket. Then they go for Ernie. Someone, and they're in Ranger's car, and someone steals it and sets it on fire. She goes back to Rangeman, and she tells him about Ernie, and they go get Ernie, and they capture him. Yes, dearie. How's it going? He takes it to his apartment. Lula comes back to her parents to work on the barbecue. Larry comes over to help. When they sit down to dinner, there's an extra plate, and it's just too funny. I wrote down the wrong page number. Okay. So, there's the extra plate at the table. And, so her mother or grandmother had invited a nice young man they met at the supermarket. He works in the vegetable area. You have to stop doing this, I said to my mother. I don't want a new man. I'll be dead someday, my mother said, and then what? You'll wish you had someone. I have a hamster. This here is Peter Pecker, Grandma said, leading a tall, bald, red-faced guy into the room. spewed water out of her nose, and my father choked on a piece of bread. Sorry, Lula said. I never met anyone named Peter Pecker before. And he looks just like wonder, Grandma said. Did anyone else notice? Isn't that something? My mother drained her highball glass and looked to the kitchen. Sit here and have a piece of chicken, Grandma said to Peter Pecker. We made it special. Pecker sat down and looked across the table at Julia Child. I thought you died. It's not really Julia Child, Grandma said. It's Larry all dressed up. Earlier today he was Mr. Clucky. That's weird, Peter said. Not as weird as being named Peter Pecker, Larry said. I can't help it if that's when I'm named. And then things go 6 ways to Sunday. I just had to share that. So I don't think there's anything really so to find out how they catch the killers, because it's hysterical, and I'd read it, but it's hysterical, and that would be a big spoiler. To find out if Stephanie is tempted by either Morelli or Ranger at the end of this book, and whose bed she ends up in, and she's going off again. You have to read the book, and I hope you are reading them with me, and I hope you are enjoying them with me. These are good books. They are funny books. They are good reads. They are enjoyable reads. And she's sorely tempted by Ranger, and she's sorely tempted by Temptation. Yes. She got it. She's taking it. So, you have a good one now. I hope you're enjoying this series, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.